The answer on the first one should be 31. Number 2. The answer to the second one should be 1. Last one. The answer for that one is 9. The winning number today is 2. If you have the work shown for all problems on the homework, then you can bring it up now. 15 out of 19 had homework. That translates into a percent of 79. Here are the answers with the work shown for them. On number 1, you had 4 different cars traveling at different distances. And car 1 is x plus 32, the second one is x plus 16, the third one is x plus 20, and the fourth one had to be x. Notice it's only referenced once in that sentence and nowhere else. The total was 288. So if you add up the x's, you have 4, 32, 16, and 20 will give you 68. Subtract 68 from 288 and get 220. If you divide by 4, you should get 55. I wrote down 54 by accident. So if you put in 55 for person 2, that should be 71. And for number 4, it is 55. But the difference is still 16. 12 less than the quantity squared of x minus 5 is 37. Your first step must be to move the minus 12 to the right side and make it plus. When you add, you get 49. Find the number that you have to square to get 49 and set x minus 5 equal to that number. When you add 5 to this side, you should get 12. On number 3, you have 3 toy machines, and the first has 25 more than the third, so the third is x, first is x plus 25, and the second has 13 less than the first. That means you take 13 away from this. You're left with 12, so x plus 12. Now, it's $43. You have $43 that should have been out here on the right, and it is. It's just in quarters. You cannot put 43 there and come up with the right answer. If you have quarters here, you must have quarters there. So what do I do to 43 to change it to quarters? Multiply it by 4, yeah, so that's where we get 172. 43 quarters times 4, you get 172. So you have 3 x's plus 37 equals 172. Move this to the right side and subtract, you get 135. And if you divide by 3, you do not get 43. It should be 45. That's my fault. So if you put 45 back in for the x plus 12, you'll come out with 57, not 55. And if you divide that 57 by 4 to convert it back into dollars and cents, because there's 4 quarters in a dollar, you won't have $13.75. It should be $14.25 for the final answer. On number 4, the quotient of 36 and the sum of a number and 4 is 4. 36 divided by some number is going to be 4. What is a number that you divide into 36 to get 4? What is 36 divided by 4? 9. So you would set 9 equal to this bottom part. X plus 4 is 9. Subtract the 4 and you come up with 5. This one you could almost look at it and do it in your head. 36 divided by some number is 4. If you know it's got to be 9, you just add 5 here, and that's the answer. I need to move this down just a little bit. There we go. So you have 4 salesmen selling phones, and the total they sold is 65. The first sold 5 more than the second, so the second is going to be x. The first one, x plus 5. The fourth sold 10 more than the third. So here's the fourth, and there's the third. Add 10 to that. And also I forgot to mention that the third sold 4 less than the first. So subtract 4 from that and you get 1. Alright, 4 x's and 5, 1, and 11 is 17. Subtract that from the 65 to get 48. Divide by 4 to get 12. If a salesman gets a bonus for selling more than 14 phones, then which salesman earned the bonus, if any? So if you plug in 12 to each of these, you'll get 17 there, 12 here, 13 here, and 23 there. So more than 14 would be this one and this one, salesman 1 and 4. Today's objective, same as what we've been doing before, create equations and inequalities in one variable and use them to solve problems. Here's example 1. 4 people are in an apple picking contest. The first has 13 more than the fourth, the second has 10 less than the first, and the third has 5 more than the second. All of their apples added together is 132. If a bonus of $1.75 per apple is given to those with more than 30 apples, then who earned the bonus and how much did they earn? We'll lower this down to have more room to work. And we'll start with this. We have 4 people, so what should I write first? What should I write first? The 4 people. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. How many apples did they pick altogether? 132. The first has 13 more than the fourth. What does that tell us? X plus 13 for the first one, but which one is X? The fourth one, right. The first has 13 more than the fourth. The second has 10 less than the first. Here's the first, X plus 13. And if I take away 10 from that one, what do I have left? We have 3, right. So if we simplify that, we get 3. So X plus 3 goes in there. The third has 5 more than the second. The second is X plus 3. If I add 5 to that, what do I have? 8. So it's X plus 8. How many X's are there? There are 4. What is 13 plus 3? 16 plus 8. 24. And I set this equal to 132. What do I do next? Right, take away 24 from the right side. What is 132 minus 24? 108. What do I do now? Divide by 4 and come up with what? 24? 27. Okay, so we have 27. 27 for X. Notice that the problem says if a bonus of $1.75 per apple is given to those with more than 30 apples, then who earned the bonus and how much did they earn? We have to go through and find out how many apples each person picked. So we'll make some more room here. Lower this down. For the person number 1, they had X plus 13. If I put a 27 in there, how many apples did they pick? 40. The second person is X plus 3. If I put 27 in, what did they get? 30. And for the third person, we have X plus 8. What's 27 plus 8? 35. And for the fourth one, that one is simply X. So that is 27. Which people qualify for the bonus? 1 and 3. Remember it says to those with more than 30 apples. 2 has 30 exactly. Now for the rest of it, The bonus of $1.75 per apple is given to those with more than 30 apples. What should I do next? Yeah, multiply 40 by 175. What is 40 times 175? $70 for person 1. And what is 35 times $1.75? $61.25 is right. And those are your two answers for the problem. 3 students are competing for a scholarship. To earn the scholarship, students must achieve a score greater than 92 on a test. George scored 3 more points than Jackie. Greg scored 2 less points than George, and the total amount of points they earned is 274. Who earned the scholarship? 3 students, so we have 1, 2, and 3. Their total points is 274. And George scored 3 more points than Jackie. So I need to put George, Jackie, and Greg in here instead of just 1, 2, and 3. So again, George scored 3 more points than Jackie. So George is x plus 3 and Jackie is x. Greg scored 2 less points than George. So if George had x plus 3 and Greg scored 2 less points, you would make it x plus 1, right? How many x's do we have in the problem? 3. And what is 3 and 1? 4. We set that equal to 274. 274, and then we're going to do what? We're going to do minus 4 and end up with what? 270, and then do what? Divide by 3 to get 90. Okay, so remember we have Greg, Jackie, and George. So off to the side here we'll have Greg, Jackie, and George. So if x is 90, Greg was x plus 1, so that's 91. And Jackie was x, so she's 90. And George is x plus 3, so 90 plus 3 is 93. The winner is George. Three basketball players are trying to earn the scoring title for their team, which means the player that scores the most points in a season. In the first half of the year, Joe had 450 points, John had 397 points, and Jeff had 402 points. In the second half of the season, Joe scored 25 less points than John. Jeff scored 34 more points than Joe. The total points scored in the second half of the season is 884, and that is for the second half of the season only. Who won the title and how many points did they have for the season? The first part of this problem you can completely ignore for right now. Everything up to there you can forget about for the time being. In the second half, it says the second half of the season, Joe scored 25 less points than John. So we're going to have Joe, John, and Jeff. Their total combined points for the second half of the season is 884. So Joe scored 25 less than John. So x minus 25 for him and x for John. Jeff scored 34 more points than Joe. Here's Joe. And if I add 34 points to that, what expression do I get? Negative 25 plus 34. Not 59. 9 is right, yes. So x plus 9 is going to be Jeff. Now we have 3 x's in this problem. What's negative 25 plus 9? Minus 16, yes. I'm going to have to add that 16 to the right side. It's minus on the left, so I'm adding 16 on the right. What's 884 and 16? 900. Divided by 3? 300. All right, so we can go back in here and put that John had 300 and Jeff had 309. Joe had 275. But now we need to find out who the scoring champion is. So we'll put Jeff here, and then John, and the other guy was Joe. All right, Jeff in the second half of the season, we found he had 309 points. How many points did Jeff have in the first half of the season? 402. When I add those two numbers together, what do I get? 711. Now, John, in the second half of the season, we found he scored 300 points. How many points did he have in the beginning? John had 397. How many points did he have altogether? Right. And Joe, in the second half of the season, had 275. In the first half of the season, what did he have? What's 275 and 450? 725. Who won the scoring title? Joe did. On your paper, to get credit for it to be right, you must have the name Joe and 725. The answer for this problem is 9.